This is the queen, the most powerful piece in chess. This is the lion, the most powerful piece in Shogi, more powerful than the queen. And this is Tenjiku Shogi. To start, the rules. There's not much of a difference between Tenjiku Shogi and Chu and Dai Shogi, except for the addition of the range jumping generals, these 6 pieces, as well as the fire demon, of which there are 2 on each side of the board. The range jumping generals function exactly like ranging pieces, except they can, to make a capture move, jump over any number of lower ranked pieces. For this, there's a hierarchy. At the top, there is the king and the crown prince if the drunk elephant promotes. Then the great general, which moves like a queen, but it can jump. The vice general, which moves like a bishop that can jump, but it also has a 3-step area move. Then the rook and bishop general, which are equal in the hierarchy, which means neither can jump over the other. And they are, just as expected, a rook that can jump and a bishop that can jump. The fire demon can move diagonally, and it has a vertical ranging move, both forward and backward. Additionally, it has a 3-step area move, and when a fire demon finishes a move, any pieces that are adjacent to it, both orthogonally and diagonally, are burned. That is, removed off the board. You always have to be careful and immediately calculate after your opponent's move and look at what's changed in the position, because even minor changes can cause a change in the outcome of the game. To start basic, the most popular Tenjiku Shogi opening move for Sente is this, opening up the vice general, and this actually threatens checkmate in 1. If Kote makes a random move, doesn't matter. This is checkmate because the vice general has a diagonal range jumping move. Neither the Kirin, Buffalo, Eagle, or Pawn are higher ranked or equal to the vice general, and the king is trapped. So this is a smothered checkmate. Another example, if Sente were to play this, you might think Sente just wasted a move and now Sente is playing as Goten. But actually, this is mate in 3. Another player on the Shogi Discord server who actually has played Tenjiku Shogi for a while didn't even realize, first of all, if you're playing the game seriously, you wouldn't even think about playing this random edge pawn move. But it's kind of shocking that this actually, just this one pawn change, means that Sente's already losing. And he didn't know that. I had only been looking into Tenjiku Shogi for a few weeks then, so I didn't know it. It was really shocking. But now, because it's a capture move, the vice general can move out from the starting position, capturing the pawn, and creating exactly the same checkmate threat. So Sente kind of has to just defend with the soaring eagle, and that doesn't help, because now the vice general can move to this square, which was not accessible from the starting position, and now it's defended by another diagonal range jumping piece, the bishop general. So even if captures, this is still checkmate, and Sente cannot block this one empty square with any piece that's equal or higher than the bishop general. So that's that. Moving on, when I talked about range jumping generals, you might have noticed that I didn't say anything about range jumping generals capturing other range jumping generals. And that's because in the modern version of the game, there are no restrictions concerning range jumping generals capturing each other. However, in the original rule set, when the game was played in the early 2000s for the first time by Western players, as you can see in this book written by Colin Adams, when he talks about the rules of the game, there's one very specific sentence that explains all of it. You can see the same hierarchy as I discussed previously, but then a piece may only jump over or capture by jumping pieces that are lower in the hierarchy. This is the important part. That means that lower ranking jumping generals cannot capture Vice General, Great General, or even the King. That means that jumping generals cannot give check. So that two move checkmate I showed you earlier, not valid. At first, this seems like a good thing, but actually, if you go deeper into the theory, this PDF book by Colin Adams discusses everything in detail in the old rule set, and there are many, many lines, but the gist of it is that if white plays very naturally and mostly symmetrically, white will lose a free king and basically be not only playing second, but also giving a free king handicap. In all of the secondary lines that are less symmetrical, that Colin Adams calls modern Tenjiku Shogi, white is giving up something, taking some minor losses to avoid this more significant loss. From what I understand, after this book was published, people just started to realize that the original rule set of Tenjiku Shogi just wasn't going to work and it was just fully winning for Sente. So they made the modification that leads to the modern game. Range jumping generals can capture higher ranked pieces. They can capture any piece. The only restriction is the pieces they can jump over. The opening in Tenjiku Shogi isn't really like other games such as Standard Shogi or True Shogi because it's mostly forcing, and I'm of the opinion that eventually, once stronger computers are created, stronger than Hachu, there will be a point where Tenjiku Shogi is fully solved, because even though the board is so big, most of the pieces on this huge board aren't involved at all in the game, because blunders are made very early, because it's such a high risk of checkmate, or of losing large amounts of material. When I read a book of theory written by Nicholas Axel Mellem, who is the current Norwegian #1 Tenjiku player, I kept seeing that over time, some moves would be proven to be unplayable. One by one, the number of moves that you can play and still survive became fewer and fewer. So eventually, there is only going to be one way to play. All the older openings that was first played, all the opening variety from the mid-early 2000s, is getting a lot less common in the few games that are played on the PBEM server nowadays. And people are coming up with new optimizations all the time. So eventually, all the major pieces, the really, really powerful ones, will be traded off. But Sente's opening advantage will create some very, very small material gain. And as more and more pieces are traded off with optimal play, theoretically, there will be almost no pieces left on the board at the very end of the game, and then Sente's very, very small material advantage will be enough to win. So theoretically, Tenjiku Shogi is still a forced win for Sente. That is my belief. I don't know if it's correct, and we don't have computers strong enough to go through the opening tree of a whole game. That would be ridiculous. We could put a computer on the path that has already been analyzed by humans, but it would still have to go through every single possible move for the rest of the game, and that takes huge amounts of computing power. It would be similar to having a stockfish style engine for Go. The reason that wasn't done when Google DeepMind created AlphaGo was because Go has such a huge game tree. It's a 19 by 19 board. I'm not going to explain Go right now, but they used AI that would learn from a large data set of games played. That wouldn't really be possible for Tenjiku Shogi, first of all because there aren't many games played for an AI to be trained on, and also because most games are very short. It's only for a very short period of time that Tenjiku Shogi players have actually had enough information to play with confidence and not lose very early in the game. And not many games are actually played regularly on the PvEM server. It's only correspondence games, and they're usually around the time of the Tenjiku Shogi World Championship. But that's all just my thoughts, so for now we're just going to look at the very, very basic Tenjiku Shogi opening. To start, Sente usually plays this checkmate threat we talked about earlier, and Gote only really has one way to defend, and Sente can also play this forcing move, threatening to take the Soaring Eagle. So this is theoretically possible because after takes, the Water Buffalo still defends this square, but this is actually losing for Gote. So the Soaring Eagle will have to move here, and any other moves are also losing. This is the only real option. I believe Gote can also play this, but usually Gote will play this. Then Sente gets a chance to develop the Fire Demon, and now Gote can make exactly the same threat. Sente has to defend again the same way. The same exact threat can be made, and although I've only done a cursory analysis of this by myself, I'm going to take Nicholas's word for it. That this move that was not playable for Gote is now playable for Sente. I don't fully understand the logic behind that, but it almost certainly has something to do with the Fire Demon. And this is really where the game branches off. This move is an option. This move is an option. This one is an option. It gets a little complicated here. So there are really three options there. And I'll just, I guess, show one of them. So the exchange variation, which is the main line, goes like so. The Soaring Eagle defends, Bishop General attacks, Soaring Eagle moves, just like Gote played. And then Gote has the option to play a Fire Demon development move. Exactly the same as Sente played. So this is sort of like a symmetrical variation of sorts. And now, this isn't really ideal for Sente to be trading here. That's not much of a material gain, so Sente can burn this dog. And this threatens to win the Great General, Vice General, Rook General, Bishop General. So now Gote can play Fire Demon to here. And this is where it really gets interesting, because the Fire Demon trading rules, similar to the Lion trading rules in Shogi, come in here. You might think that this is a blunder, because if this Fire Demon takes here, then all the generals I listed before and Gote's Fire Demon will get burned. But that's not how it works. The burning power of a Fire Demon that isn't moving takes precedence over the burning power of a Fire Demon that is moving. So, if I try to play this move in AIAI, it's only Sente's Fire Demon that gets burned. So now, Sente's Fire Demon is attacked and Sente is forced to trade. Now, Gote only loses one Bishop General instead of losing all of the major pieces.